take a picture of nothing. How many people are here? So, here in Spain. No, Majorca. Palma de Majorca. We love you, Palma. Wow. Mi amore. I didn't feel like party. Palma, Spain from the boat. It's pretty nice. A little bit more modern than all the cities that we went to so far.
Yeah.
That's a really big cathedral. That's where you seen last night when it was all lit up. Today, people got their boats out. Say about 68, 70 degrees. I'm not sure, maybe a little less. It's a pier we're on. This is the festival we went to.
That's pretty good.
Pretty cool tree. Did I do that? Huh?
Were you in the way when you just took that picture?
I don't know. I didn't see. Ask him that.
Was he in the way when you took that picture?
Whoa. Turn on the lights. You're starting to turn up the lights on everybody. Is that like a rosary or something that's really big? See the altar thing like that. Oh yeah. The guy putting out the candles. Didn't get that one. After we didn't finish unlighting that one. Got him.
Get a shot of the pyramid and then that's scary. Theater, Cartagena, Spain, and they're trying to preserve it as well. They built the city around it. Didn't know it was here. Boring. That is? Yeah. That's what she said she was telling me.
Can't get away from the big nasty though. Right there.
Wants to get her friends.
Yeah.
me a picture?
Yeah. A bunch of them.
The duck's like, yeah, go fuck with them.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Hey, Mr. Peacock. Hey, Mr. Peacock. We'll fall down the hill. Water fountain.
You know what you did in there? Yeah, probably like Super Bowl. Like 1980.
Super Bowl night. I think I watched Super Bowl. Hanging out. Walking around town.
Sube para arriba. Sube para arriba. A la ciudad.
¿Dónde está?
Luna, cómetelo.
More job, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate it.
I want to be on video, Kerley.
Beautiful. Leaving Cartagena city.
on France. We're in a working port, so we've been working a lot. Doing a lot of industrial things, the boats, and doing all that crap. Too long itself sucks, but it's kind of pretty. Got 4 of our boats here right now. And the Nashville, the Portland. The land and us. There's one of their carriers. See some of it. They're smaller than ours. Oh, nice. As you can tell, this is like the French version of Norfolk, and therefore you know it's a military town. It kind of sucks, but the background scenery is pretty awesome. It's pretty nice. So here's the 4 boats that go inside of our boat. There's a better shot of the carrier they have. Hey, this is the train going to Paris. Sat in first class. We meet and about a couple hour delay.
Let me tell you, there's like mad drama in the other car. You think this one's bad? You should go back there. If you want to get some French people yelling, go back to the other car.
Hello, we're at Paris. Just made it.
Cameras are out.
A little bit late, but that's the train station, kind of, from the outside. We're sitting inside the bus. I think we're going to get a bus tour of everything. There was a wreck on the train track.
What does it say here? So there's somebody going to see if there's no way to see.
Then on the left-hand side, the modern area, we shall see on the way back. Your hotel is in this direction. And when we'll be on the left bank, so first of all, you see in front of us a garden, a park, which is the botanical garden of Paris. We call the Jardin des Plantes, since the 17th century, so it's 4 centuries old. And it has around big buildings, you see, Museum of Natural Science, Natural Sciences. Very rich, very interesting museum, because of course many of the collections were gathered of the countries of Africa and the Orient, with interesting exhibitions, and there is a museum inside. And then here we arrive where we have on the left what we call the Latin Quarter. There is a restaurant here. Pleasant to walk along the quay of the river, and you see all these little shops of books, and the bookinistes, they sell second-hand books, prints, engravings. And the Latin Quarter on the left is the district which formerly was the district of the university, of the schools. The students used to speak Latin in the Middle Ages, to write everything in Latin. University, which is still existing in France, is the Sorbonne University, which is in the middle of the district on the left. It was founded in the 13th century. It's a large building. Paris, all along the Middle Ages, was very important. There is a small house on the left. It's a restaurant. It used to be a hotel. Pompeii, it was a hotel. Only 2 rooms. It was always full. Petit Châtelet, right in the middle of the large building, the Palais de Justice, the Palace of Justice. And on the left there is a fountain of Saint Michael's fountain. This is Place Saint-Michel. There is a metro station, Metro Saint-Michel, which is called the main metro station for the Latin Quarter. So you see on the right the Ile de la Cité, you see the Palais de Justice, which is the palace of the Court of Justice. But this building originally was the Royal Palace. Of course it was not as it is now, and many of the buildings you see now are. Because it was, when it was built 400 years ago, it was new. But now, now it is the oldest bridge in Paris. Since the 17th century, the time of Henry IV, you see the statue of the king on the horse there. It's Henry IV. He reigned around 1600, and so he was the one who had the bridge completed. So it's the oldest bridge of Paris, but it's still called the New Bridge. Then we have the Mint on the left. The building we're just passing is where they make the coins and the medals. 18th century architecture is quite elegant. The next building, semicircular on the left, yes, very elegant. Writers, each group, each academy discusses the evolution of their own field. So literature, language, art, science, and so they have the river is the Louvre Museum, which is a museum now, but originally was the Royal Palace. So what you see from here corresponds to what was the Royal Palace. There is a long wing, which was a kind of corridor. How large is the Louvre? And it's the largest museum now, largest museum in the world. It has 50,000 artworks in exhibition, but only ancient art. If you go to the Louvre, you won't see any modern art. You won't see any Impressionism. They have some, but only few paintings of private collections which were given to the museum, so they are still in the Louvre. But it is not supposed to be the museum for Impressionism, so it's not on the left. You see there is a large building with 2 large clocks. So that's the Musée d'Orsay, which is the museum about the 19th century. Nice view to the right, to the old city with the bridges. You see some barges. These barges transporting materials for construction. And of course they cross Paris here by the city itself, and they own the modern Paris in the sense that it is 19th century Paris. So it's a public garden you can see on the left. It's a nice classical garden. It's symmetrical. And there was a palace on the right in 1871. And in front of us we have the statue of Jeanne d'Arc, symbolizing nationalisms in the 19th century. Jeanne d'Arc was the heroine who, at the end of the 100 Years' War between France and England, helped the king of France to be crowned. And so she symbolizes. In Paris City we have 5, so we must not accept any appointment at the state. Unfortunately, that's not where we go. But very nice little shops for articles of Paris, you know, perfumes, fashion, and tourism, because we are in the traditional district of tourism, where you have these hotels, Paris is the occupation. On the left side, you will see when we turn another hotel, which is very nice too. It's the Intercontinental. And we have many others existing since the middle of the 19th century. The Royal Palace of Versailles, Jules Antoine Mansart. So there is the Ritz Hotel on the left now. And so that's for, if you are interested, for another time. If you cannot pay the bill, you can go next door. There is a mini. It's the Paris Opera House. So from your hotel, you have the Metro Direct here, if you want to come and do shopping around here, because you have all the department stores behind it. You have a large staircase covered with marble and onyx paintings, mosaics. It's really beautiful. And it was built between exhibitors. They have more than 400,000 in catalog. So if you go and visit the Louvre, you have to count them all to get sure you see everything, 50,000. Don't miss the Mona Lisa, the famous smiling lady by Leonardo da Vinci, or the Wind Victories,
That's the next one?
Yeah. So you see the glass pyramid on the left. This is the entrance for the museum. And underground we have a huge space, shopping center, convention center, and everything to receive. Through the gardens, Jardin des Tuileries, you remember there was a palace here called the Tuileries Palace formerly, burnt down in 1871. And in the distance, through the wheel, you can see the continuation of the perspective, the Champs-Élysées and the big triumphal arch, the most famous one, which is on the Place de l'Étoile. 3 kilometers long, this perspective, triumphal way. Is a building with columns. It is the parliament. We have 2 chambers. What we call the Assemblée Nationale is for representatives elected for 5 years, and they meet here in this building called the Palais Bourbon. Facade is early 19th century, from the time of Napoleon I. They are 2 buildings separate. And the bridge here is the Pont de la Concorde Bridge. Have a look to the left and you see the beautiful bridge Alexander III, one single arch across the river. It was built in 1900 for the welfare, which was so important in Paris, a huge exhibition. So they built this bridge on the left in Ireland to Louis XIV. But this one where we are was dedicated to Louis XV. Louis XV was the great-grandson of Louis XIV. Nowadays, there is no more statue of the king. There is the obelisk in the center. It's an Egyptian obelisk. It's a gift from Egypt to France. In 1836 it was erected here. And on the right side, you can see 2 buildings with columns. So the first one with the big French flag in the middle is the Navy Ministry, and then there is a street leading to a kind of Greek temple. In the distance you see this building looking like a Greek temple. It's a church, Madeleine Church. The street is called Rue Royale, and there is the restaurant Maxim's there, very famous restaurant Maxim's. Very expensive too. And then you have another building with columns just near us now to the right, with a blue flag in the middle. It is the Crillon Hotel. Very, very deluxe hotel. And just after the Crillon Hotel is the American Embassy, where you see the flag. Through the branches of the tree, you can see the flag, the American flag. It's the chancellery of the American Embassy. You know that Place de la Concorde, during the French Revolution, during the period we call the right side, it's the palace of the President of the Republic. You see a large garden. On the left, the Grand Palais, on the left side. The Grand Palais is an exhibition hall for exhibitions and museums, built in 1900. So I don't know if you know the flag, which is flags of the world by heart. It's difficult. So this is the flag of a guest, official guest. So that's why it's very pretty to see the Champs-Élysées with the flags come when there is a reception like that. And there is under the Arch of Triumph, November, 8th of May, when we have the commemoration for the wars, the World Wars, but when there is a special visit, because most of the time. And many of the buildings are around, were built around 1860, 1870, 1900, so the second half of the 19th century and the period around 1900. There is a very good pastry shop on the left, La Durée, very, very good. And then there is a cafe, restaurant, very famous in Paris, called Le Fouquet's on the left. The corner of the next avenue, it is where the actors of the cinema business, actors, producers go. So if you go there, it's better to be invited by somebody, because the bill is really did not see almost anything built of the arch. The arch was built during the reign of Louis Philippe, 1836, but respecting the original project of Napoleon I. So the groups you see on the left is Napoleon crowned by a victory, triumph of Napoleon. The group on the right is the Marseillaise, symbolizing the departure of the volunteers for the War of 1792. And it's named the Marseillaise because it was the French anthem now was the war song of these volunteers coming from Marseille. And then on the other side we have peace and resistance, two groups by Essex. And under the arch is the grave of the unknown soldier, where you see the flowers you could see, and so World War I. If you look to the right, in the distance called La Défense, it's outside Paris. It is not the part of Paris, it's already in the suburbs. The limit of the city of Paris is just the end of this avenue on the right, halfway from here, and the Défense district, more or less halfway. La Défense is a big business district with skyscraper. They have 150,000 people going to work there, coming from all over the region, of course. And there are steps in the middle of the terrace of this building, and on the other side of this kind of corridor, you find the view. So, woohoo!
Yalnız Eyfel tam anlamıyla çıkmıyor. Yani Eyfel...
I did in that whenever I squatted down, but back there I couldn't. Wow. Crazy. There you go.
When you see on the right, flame, it's a copy of Flame of Statue of Liberty, exact size.
You got killed right there?
Dans la place de l'Alma, with the bridge of the l'Alma, this is where you... Just nearby here is the Bateau-Mouche company. We have several companies for tours on the river, on the boat. 1 hour, Napoleon the First, and we have the tomb of his son, Napoleon the Second. We have the tomb of two brothers of Napoleon and the French marshals of France. It's Open to the visit every day. You can see there is the helicopter, because they come by helicopter. At the buildings on the left, you can see the Louvre Museum.
Notre Dame. So I'm gonna quit in a second. Inside the museum that has the Mona Lisa on like west. Wow. She moved. Where we go? Michelangelo sculpture. Right. Got too much light on this side.
that for sure. Dude holding the frisbee. Top of that. Mommy.
Thank you for clarifying that.
We're at the Oval Tower. Don't have very much battery, so I'll make it quick. Alright. Oval Tower. Man, it's really, really cold up here. My battery's going dead.
Are you filming?
Yeah. It's kind of hazy out through there.
Yeah, it's cool.
Can't really see anything. I don't have any money to shop. I ain't even bought anything.
I saw that Versace store.
Now they're fixing the stairs.
Back down? No. You know how cold it is out there? Yeah, Eiffel Tower rocks a little bit.
Yeah, but I ain't got very much battery today.
Oh! Okay, here we are at the Royal Gates for Chateau de Versailles. Palace of Versailles. House of King Louis XIV, the Sun King.
Alright, battery dead.
Very good.
This is just a reminder that helps me get up every morning. Pretty awesome. Beautiful out here.
Main Square.
Then Greeks were here and some knights from the mountains around this valley. Only 80 years before the birth of Christ, Pompeii became a Roman colony. The whole town was dedicated to Venus. So Pompeii suddenly took on the aspect of a typical Roman city in the language and every manifestation of art. What most of all we are going to see in this tour as a Roman character. In the year 62 after Christ, a terrible earthquake struck considerably the architecture. And 17 years later, exactly the 24th of August of the year 79 AD after Christ, at around 1 p.m., the terrible eruption of the Vesuvius. And from the last days of Pompeii, we know almost everything. Thanks to Plinius Jr. This young man of 17 years old wrote 2 letters to Tacitus in Rome, the historic man, Tacitus. So through the analysis of these 2 letters, we know in details exactly what happened. A terrible explosion of the volcano. And then above the central crater came out continuously for 3 days and 3 evenings, ashes, lapilli and lava. Lapilli are foamy stone, very large, they flow above the water. From their fortune, the lava did not reach Pompeii in that occasion. We know well that lava is like a fire, so when it gets cold and solidifies, becomes a solid rock. But before it destroys everything. So then it would have been impossible to recover the town. Pompeii was only buried with ashes and pomace to reach about the 2nd floor of every house, over 25 feet high, from 4 to 6 meters high. In the last period in town lived about 20,000 inhabitants, 20,000, and about 2,000 perished at 10% of the population. They perished because they hesitated to escape. Some of them found shelter under the cellar, others they returned back to their home trying to recover their precious things. But unfortunately, they became first asphyxiated and then buried. For the excavation of the town, we must wait many centuries later, because with time they lost completely track of the town. Trees and vegetation grew above these hills. The excavation started in 1748, considered from 79 to 1748, and today still goes on in a modern way. But inside the walls of the town today still remains 1/5 of the town, which is still buried with ashes and bones. In other words, 80% is out, 20% still to be uncovered. And recently, they found a beautiful cubits in marble and a dolphin with golden hair. And only about 20 days ago, in a shop, they found about 20 coins in gold in very good state of preservation. So really fantastic that after almost 2,000 years, well, so what, you can see like it. So now I don't want to bore you any longer. We go by the ticket office. I'll give you the ticket, then we start the tour and see the most important things. But please, when we have questions to ask, don't hesitate to ask. I mean, mainly to answer your question, try to do my best. See, Pompeii can stay 2 hours, 2 days, 2 years. Unique in the world. Elsewhere we found part of a theater, an amphitheater, a bath, but here we have the whole town. So please, when you have questions, don't hesitate. Thank you. Alright, everybody, was tension the sea. 2,000 years ago, the sea was closer to the walls of Pompeii. Now the sea is about a mile and a half away. After the eruption of 79 that buried the town, we had about 80 eruptions. So the whole area here was filled in the volcanic material and the sea went back. Streets are completely paved with irregular pieces of lava stone. Originally the town was built on a lava stream of prehistoric time, so it was easy to recover this type of material. Also the Appin Way, the Appin Road that goes from Rome to Brindisi, paved by the Romans, was made with the same volcanic rock from the Vesuvius. And right below the arch it was the gate. The sea gate was all in wood with decoration in bronze. Streets of Pompeii.
Okay, go out the street.
Here's the garage for your Ferrari.
Thank you. place, it's a labyrinth. So kindly, when we move to one place to another, we try to stay always together, because it's very easy to get lost. While you're doing a photo, you might lose the group. Anyway, the meeting place is a Porta Marina. Outside here it's called a Porta Marina, the sea gate. And the meeting place by the Hotel Swiss where we started the tour. Thank you. So essentially Pompeii was a wealthy commercial town. Normally on the street we find single rooms, 2 rooms, there were shops, stores, always with a second floor. Today, every time that we find a second floor is part of the reconstruction. Everything was made with beams of wood. With the heavy weight, everything collapsed. So 100% of the time that in Pompeii we see wood, it's not original. Then behind the shop we find the house, the villa. In a little while together, you are going to see the most important villas. What do they produce here to make a living? Like all the Mediterranean cities here, they produce very good wine on the Vesuvius side, olive oil on Sorrento side. Factories to make wall cloth, linen cloth, ceramic also, like vases, brick roof tiles, and many marine artisanal and commercial activities. Porta Marina, the way was salt, no sugar, so honey. Beautiful perfume for the ladies of Pompeii they produced here. The garum, a spicy sauce, was like a caviar of today. But the major industry remained agriculture. Outside the walls of the town, this valley was called Campania Felix. Thanks to the volcanic ashes and the mild climate also in winter. In winter here in the valley we never have snow. So they produce many things at the same time. And all these agricultural products were brought in town at the marketplace, the shops, the harbour, and they were sent all over. Until 50 years ago, the major industry of this area was still agriculture. Streets, between the lava rock here, we can see another very interesting 10 square pieces of white marble. They were also placed on the sidewalk for a specific function. Because during the evening, when the moon was on, they reflected the moonlight. They illuminated the street and sidewalks. Today, what do they produce? Today, essentially, this is a touristic area. Yes, you can spend many days here to do different excursions. But of course, we have big industry, automobile, helicopter, computer, chemical industry, refineries, agriculture as well. Huh? We just consider a town of today. Normally, in the center of the town, we find a square. Securely around the square we find a church, city hall, marketplace. So religious, political, commercial center of the town. So this is the Foro Romano from the last Pompeian period. Of course, to appreciate the square, we have to use our imagination and think how it looked 2,000 years ago. In the last period, the whole square was all paved with travertine, as you can see below here on the ground, between marble and stone. It was all white. On the left, just restored, we can see a double orders of columns. Doric and above Ionic. Above it was a corridor, the ambulatorium. In a rainy day, Pompeian people could walk around this colonnade because the rain ran on 3 sides of the square. The 4th side in front of us, like a Campidoleum, was closed by the temple of Jupiter, the king of God. A typical Italic temple with a double stairs in front. A deeper pronaos, a vestibulum with 6 columns with Corinthian capital which they are missing. And then in the rear part of the temple it was a cella. Through the 2 central columns, it's still possible to see there at the end a constellation of Jupiter. But that one there is not the original, the original is in the museum in Naples. And this is the reconstruction to give you a better idea. Don't move, I come to you. Looks like Piazza San Marco in Venice. There more or less we find the same scheme. Only at the end of the square you have the Church of San Marco, in this case a pagan temple, a temple of Jupiter. On the left side, all these bases, also behind us here, were all bases covered with marble, also polychrome marble, with about statues. Some of the statues also equestrian of important people of the town. Then all around the square, monuments with different character. The religious character is the temple of Apollo on the left and the temple of Vespasian on the right. The basilica in the corner here, which it was the center of commerce and the court of justice. On the south side, the brickwork, city hall, municipium with different sections. Of curia, edilis to inviri, which they were the administrators of the town. Every year they have an election. Also in those days they were afraid of corruption, so every year they have an election. On top of everything we can see now the volcano. Unfortunately today is a bad day, hazy day, cloudy day. And all you can see is the silhouette of this 7 miles away from here. The last eruption of the Vesuvius was in March 1944, during the Second World War. And once more ashes and pomace reached the square for a few hours. Since then the Vesuvius geology says is in a dormant phase, sleeping phase, but it's not dead. Can wake up at any time. But of course we live in the area, so we are very optimistic. We should have can remain in this place for many more years. We live like they live in California, always with the earthquake, so we live with it. But anyway, it's not really that dangerous. But the only problem is that when it stays in a dormant phase for many years can be very dangerous. Because all the gas on the bottom accumulate a great pressure and then come out at a terrible explosion. But anyway, the last one was going 1944. Many American soldiers that were here during the Second World War, they went up to the crater while the eruption was going on, really. Because also the same happened in Sicily. They have another volcano, the Etna. People go there and get souvenirs, really, from the lava. Incredible. But, you know, it's always, you know, you have to be careful. We go with the guys over there. Now we go through the square, analyzing all the important monuments that we all have. The portal introduced the temple of Eumachia. Behind it was a wall market. They also used to have auction sellable products. We must consider that already in those days, Pompeii was in commerce with all the Mediterranean and the Orient. Also, into the Roman period, the commercial language was Greek language. Children at school at the same time used to study Greek and Latin. At the head of the market was a lady with the name of Eumachia. It's written here. The etymology derives from the Greek, means good, great lady. In effect, she was. If we consider that during Greek period, women were almost segregated. They lived apart from men. We recall from what we read that the Gina Cheon, the quarter reserved for the ladies. But she was so able to put together some sort of union, corporation of fullones, builders of clothes and dyes. So she came out from the social and political context of the town. We can say with modern words and nothing new today, that she was one of the first feminists of history, that together with men built a better, more equal society. You see, the portal essentially is decorated with the acanthus leaves. Acanthus leaves we find in the Corinthian capital, Doric, Ionic and Corinthian. The famous Greek sculptor Callimachus, he saw the leaves and had the intuition to build a toy style, Corinthian style. And close you can see many details, like birds and peacocks, snails, rabbit, lizard, grasshopper and so on and on. They have over 100 different types of insects and birds. And after the Romans, to see these beautiful things again, we have to wait the Renaissance. All the Middle Age, everything was flat, Hieratic, Byzantine, bidimensional. The structure was similar like the Forum. And the beautiful statue of Eumachia was found behind the Exedra there, and today is kept in the museum in Naples. We to conclude the visit of Pompeii, we require also a visit to the Archaeological Museum in Naples. After the British and the Vatican Museum, securely is one of the most important museums of Europe for the Greek and Roman period. Most of the precious things that they find here in Pompeii and Aroli are kept there in Naples. Beautiful structure. On Titus for a short while, and then the eruption. Remains in the center of the altar for sacrifices. As well know, in those days they used to sacrifice all the animals, bulls, cows, sheep and goats. The prospect on the altar represents a sacrifice of a bull, which was the symbol of strength and power. Was dedicated to the emperor who was still alive. People assist around the altar. The top of the temple was a cellar, reserved only to the minister of the cult and the statue. And this is the reconstruction to give you a better idea. Unfortunately, the decoration had to be inside this lost. From the outside here, on top of the bricks was all marble or Carrara, like the rest of monument around the square, were all covered with white marble. And these people used to wear a white toga with vivid decoration in red, in silver and gold. So really fantastic square. 2,000 years ago, everything was white and green with the mountains that all around. So what happened to the marble when they started the excavation? Unfortunately, all the marble went to reach the house of people living around this area. The same happened in Rome with the Colosseum, other Roman monuments. Most of the marble that are there today is in the churches of Rome. They now give great importance to the ancient monument. They employ the marble, not considering the great damage that they caused to ancient monuments. But consider on top of this was all marble. So close the square, the triumphal arch dedicated to the Emperor Tiberius. Tiberius lived in the period of Christ, and this is how it appeared. Covered with marble, statues into the shrine, and on top of the arch the equestrian statue of the Emperor Tiberius. And below the arch here, 2 blocks in travertine. They were here in the center for a purpose, to block to enter the chariot to the center of the town. What we have rediscovered today in Italy after 2,000 years again, because again we are closing the historical center of the Italian cities to automobile, and we leave it only to pedestrians. Then they create social life. The square here to be only for pedestrians, not to worry about chariot or motor scooters or motorcycles like today. I'd like to take you now on the other side of the forum. We are going to see a deposit of vases and plaster cast of people that perished in the eruption. Closer, I'd like to tell you about the technique how the plaster cast was made, and then you can have photos. First of all, this is a deposit of archaeological pieces. Many vases of ceramic ending with a point, when normally used for wine and olive oil. So the sediment you retain at the extreme end, at the extreme bottom. And also because these were vases for transport. Inside the boat at the bottom, they used to have the sand, the zavorra, to keep in balance the boat. So the point of the vase will fit into the sand, and they were placed one next to another. So in case the sea was rough, and fell down and break. And here we are going to see also plaster cast of people that perished in the eruption. The system of plaster cast was employed for the first time around 1860 on all the organic substance, as human beings, animals, wooden objects. The bodies of these people trapped in the lid of ashes and apparently that at the time of the eruption was warm and damp. So around the human body formed a solid compact shell. As you know, with years, with centuries, the organic substance loses the physical form. Actually, the flesh decomposes. So they remained all an inside hollow with bones, a skeleton, a hollow with the skeleton. When the archaeologists after centuries, they noted the hollows in various points of the body from above, they injected liquid plaster of Paris. When the plaster was out after hours, remain again where it was once. But sometimes closer, we can see the bones, skull and teeth and fingernails, but mainly closer is to catch the expression in their face. These poor people were first asphyxiated and then buried. 3. People in those days, they were not very tall, in effect. They were shorter people. And also their life expectancy was less. Average life was only 35, 40 years old. And high percentage of child mortality. Medicine, biology, chemistry was not at the level of today. Of course, just like today, there used to be also taller people. People who live to 70, 80, 90 years old are normally shorter and they live less. And then sitting down, realizing there's no possibility to expand. Okay, take a photo and then we go.
The accident when he was covered with dust rock. Unbelievable.
Streets are disastered because of time. Originally, everything was much smoother, much even, and streets were crowded in the center. We are going to enter now the Forum Bar, the Terme del Foro, Bagni Pubblici. They counted in Pompeii about 20 public baths. These are the smallest ones, but they are well preserved. Normally, we always find the same scheme. A men's section that you're about to visit, separated was the female section. Together, they share the palestra, gymnasium for physical exercise, and sometimes in the gymnasium, we found also an open-air swimming pool. Then different room inside, apodidarium, a waiting room. Then frigidarium, tepidarium, calidarium, gradual passage from cold to hot and vice versa. Obviously in winter, they used to have a hot bath, a massage in the tepidarium, and then they used to come out without the cold baths. But we must consider all the time that Pompeii was only a provincial town of 20,000 inhabitants. In the same period already Rome was a big city of over 1.5 million inhabitants. There we find everything much larger in dimension. Termio, Caracalla, Diocletiano in Rome are much, much larger. But Pompeii gives us a perfect idea how this to be. What I'm trying to say is the volcano did not destroy the town, but bury the town, preserve the town, save the town. So to the misfortune, we are fortunate today to find all this. Now even Rome gives us a good idea like Pompeii. Really here we can enter into the intimity of things.
Word.
So the first room here was the apodidarium, a waiting room that was also used as an undressing room. The floor is the original floor in mosaic pebbles. All these pebbles, one by one, was cut by hand and then assembled and put together. The benches where the people used to sit where I'm standing. On the other side of the wall we can see the holes into the wall where beams to come out, and on top of the beams wooden cloths that was the clothes. The whole room was decorated in stone and fresco. Come in a little more, please. Come in a little more. Thank you. In the corner here we have the cold bars, Frigidario. This will come in here in the afternoon. To meet friends and speak of intelligent things, read things of commerce, great social life. They did not close themselves in house watching TV like you today sometimes for hours, but they used to meet at certain places like public bars, theaters, amphitheaters, and many pubs in the center of the town. So they sit down into the pool. The room around was decorated with vegetable motifs and flower to create an illusion of open air. And inside here it's very interesting to see the roof above, which has an opening, like a key, oriented towards sundown. So in the late afternoon, when they went into the room, the whole place was illuminated by the last rays of sun. And the roof was beautiful, decorated in blue and stars that reflect into the water. Great sense of aesthetics, a lot of colors everywhere. From back here, if you block the light, shut the window with your hand, like am I doing, shut the window. Below there you can see a place on Neptune, God of sea, protector of the public gods. In every public place and private home, there's a God patron, God protector. In this case, Neptune, God of sea, of society. Now we are dealing with the archaic form of a brazier in bronze that we have here, a fireplace, all in bronze. Around a place of bricks in the center, the fire to heat the room. Around here, instead of columns, kindly, if we leave a little passage behind us. Around the room here we can see, instead of columns, statues are called telamoni, like athletes of the mythology. They support above their heads the weight of the architrave, forming some sort of closet, where it was possible to deposit objects, towels, essence or perfume, because this was also the ideal place for massage. On the side of above the volta, the roof came in for the excessive weights. But under the window here, we can still see the original plaster ceiling, all handmade and also ingentled with very large colors of blue and violet. In my house, after 20 years, the flat plaster came down. Here, 2,000 years, it's still on. Fat line, marble dust and elbow grease that we lost from the comets. They really built things to last. Consider that this was done during the period of Christ. It was done 500 years before Columbus went to America. Really built things to last. So gentlemen, this was the Caridari. On this side you can see the black top, steel covered with the original marble Carrara. About 10 people at the time put it inside and have a hot dog. What is important for me to say is already 2,000 years ago there was a central heating system. Outside this wall it was a corridor with a prefurnium, a large stove and boiler to do hot water, warm water and steam. In the same time they heated this men's section of the Calidarium, on the other side of the wall the female section. The steam, the vapor, came below the floor. So this floor here is completely suspended from the ground, hypocausto or hypocausto. So the steam went below the floor. When also around the walls, on the left side here we can see double walls, concatenation, little bricks. So bricks are absorbed the heat and never are little by little. So in this room there's always at constant temperature. The vault are simply made of little channels, trigilatum. So when the bricks are able formed enough fell directly down at the other people, but through the channel slide on the side walls and then on the ground. Still up above 5 openings, 3 for lights, 2 windows. In case it was really too hot, they could be opened to enter the turner in the room, predisposed like a clock for the morning, midday and afternoon. In those days already had glass, it was not transparent, it was opaque. Shocking. And here found a lagoon which was made of one single piece of marble. In the center was intermittent jets of water. When they needed, they came in and refreshed themselves. On the edge of the lagoon, letters in bronze engraved in the marble. The name of whom donated the basin to the public gods. Politician men of Pompeii employed public money, but they showed the community they operate well, they left the name and the price paid for the pump. So at the end we can read constant cost, 5,250 sesterces. Politician men, donation to the town, but they forgot to take off the price. A gift with the price on it. Very endearing.
Says something about that, beware the dog. So beware the dog sounds.
Poeta tragico, the house of tragic poet. Because in one of the rooms on the floor they found a polychrome mosaic representing dramatic actors preparing themselves to go on the stage. But this fantasy is also known as the house of Glauco. The English writer, Sir Edward Lytton, that wrote a beautiful book, Last Days of Pompeii, one of the Glauco, the leading man of the book, leave the villa. But it's better known because right here at the entrance we can see a mosaic representing a dog chained. It says below in Latin, cave canem, which means beware of the dog. Then normally they had a dog chained before the century. Nothing new under the sun. Already 2,000 years ago they did. Beware of the dog. Have a look, and then we are going to have a drink from the Vesuvius. Then pour wine from Sicily, from Greece stronger. They cut always wine with water and they sweeten it to honey in it, bitter and sweet. Then of course there was red wine, new wine, aromatic wine, all sorts of food that they used to eat, a specific type of wine like today. Sometimes cold drinks were directly kept into the counter in 2 vases of terracotta. As you will know, champagne, spumante, white wine, we can drink cold. But red wine has to be never cold, but cool from the cellar. And then in winter they used to have a boiler to make also warm wine, vin brûlé. And this was also a larger caupona, trattoria, paninoteca, McDonald's, and a very good spot across the street from the public guards. Once in a while from the inside of the cellulare they called here, hello, send us lacrima Christi, while bathing the afternoon, a long aperitif before they went to dine. 120 bars. We have an historic man, Columella, that is they used to drink about 5 liters of wine a day, 1 gallon of wine.
Wow.
That's why they live only 35, 40 years old. Love and wine, stone. Romans were very clever and practical people. So when they had to cross the street, they would not go down and then go up again on the sidewalk. But in a rainy day, being there no sewers all the time, so streets were in under rainwater, they used to cross the street above the stepping stone without wedding shoes and sandals. And here on the ground, we can see tracks of wheels with a continuous passage of chariot, the engraved roads very deep one into the lava stone. Shows us exactly the commercial character of the town. Chariots used to have always 2 wheels and 2 animals, donkeys, mule, horses, but always 2 and 2. So in front of each wheel, between the blocks, used to cross also an horse like the big at the circus. 2 wheels and 2 animals all the time. The second arch here was dedicated to Caligula, the crazy Caligula. And at the end of the street we are going to see in a moment the north side of the defending walls. The walls have been excavated. Every once in a while on the wall a tower guards for soldiers, in all 14. And then at the end of each important street a gate, like the sea gate, are the 7 leaded Pompeii in this town. So 14 watchtower guards and 8 gates. Of course Romans in the last period no more fear of foreign invasion. So they start to build also villas on the outside walls. On the west side there used to be villas with terraces, etc. at different level, facing the entire Gulf of Naples. Nobody was so foolish to attempt to invade a Roman town. Most of all in black and white, and here we have the last phase. That was here, those pieces of glass, seashells, colored marble, becomes polychrome like a painted thing. The margin inside and outside are decorated with seashells. In the center normally it was a face of a satyr in marble, from the mouth water came down. And then in the evening, when everything was dark, by the fountain there, they placed beautiful lamps to illuminate the interior. And the water came down and achieved the colors of the pebble. They love to create inside these houses theatrical scenographic effects. But no matter how large this villa were, we always find around them high walls. They love their privacy in their own house. The villa received light from the inside garden and inside atrium from up above. No windows at all. So today we can securely say that Roman culture is mainly a Greek culture. Our culture today is mainly Jewish, Greek, Roman culture. They were polytheistic, we are monotheistic today. This area was called Magna Graecia, Great Greece. The lead did not came from Italy, from Elba, from Sardinia, came from England. Julius Caesar was searching for silver in England. He found lead and employed lead into the Roman world. Original water pipes made of lead. Above this pilaster, it was a tank in pressure with the water. So sometimes the water fell off the tank, came along the wall, and left the incrustation of carbonate or calcium that really saved these people. It's fantastic and real, everything is exaggerated. Until 10 years ago, this painting was covered with wooden windows. Ladies, children were not allowed to see it. Only later they put glass in front of it, which is more fair, so everybody can see it. Hi. Romans had great imagination. Coming. way, gentlemen, don't go far, I'll show you. Right here in the atrium, the roof had a grey slot toward the center with the central opening. Through the original gargoyle that were up there in terracotta, the rainwater came down in the Lourdes and the effluvium underground. From the effluvium, the water was kept into the well into the garden. And both sides, 2 single bedrooms, played a beautiful game of jumping water. So they know the nature, the flower, the harmony of these fountains inside the house and not on the outside like that today. Now I'd like to show you the servants' quarter here, the kitchen, and then behind the kitchen a little room I call a denarium, after Venus, the goddess of love. In this little room, 3 panels with erotic paintings. Another players, like one we saw at the entrance this time in marble. Probably the bachelor brothers in this little room used to play around with young woman servants, or maybe it was the chef, we don't know.
This is the kitchen. Right. Some red pots.
Like that one.
Stupid.
In the garden here, they used to entertain the guests. I'd like to show you the reconstruction of the dining room. Yeah, right here. In this room we can see on the wall the typical Pompeian red that time made more beautiful. A symbol of wealth, the best quality of red, only today we know, was extracted from the mercury. So they prepared the walls in yellow, and then very fun about the oxide of mercury. Seeing all this red in this room, we can securely say that these 2 brothers were wealthy owners. Unfortunately, the central paintings are lost. There remains a beautiful frieze and black background of cubits that is the typical work that they used to do in the real life in Pompeii. Miniaturistic painting, but not analyzing every detail. Come to see it. Leonardo da Vinci, in the Last Supper in Milano, he made some sort of timber on the wall. Unfortunately, that painting is almost completely gone. Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel, he made the fresco technique, the same technique as we have here. But the Sistine Chapel today is still okay, but those paintings they don't have over 500 years. And you can see the beautiful perspective like windows into the walls. Wonderful the space. And the figure always, they are 3-dimensional. Consider all the Middle Age, almost 1,200 years. Everything was flat, Iliatic, Byzantine, bidimensional. The whole passed from Rome to Turkey, to Byzantium, Constantinople. Everything became flat, bidimensional, abstract, spiritual if you want. So to recover again, It's possible to see the lower floor here, very squalid place. A corridor, around the corridor 5 little rooms, celle meretrice. On top of each entrance an erotic painting. They show exactly what was going on inside, the speciality of the house. The people, they could not speak the language, seeing the paintings, they know exactly what to expect inside. Chambers were made, inside the chambers, beds were made of stone, or course were covered above mattresses. Through the analysis of graffiti and the letters on the walls, they found also names and prices. Names like Eutychus, Smyrina, Egle, Cleo, I remember them all. And the price was ridiculous, from 2 to 4 asse. 2 asse was only the equivalent of 2 jars of wine. The most beautiful one, double the price. 4 asse, 1 seserzio. Everything was legal. They paid tax to the state, no terrible disease like today. Otherwise I won't be here today. So you can enter, look well on the left and right side, on top of each end, look there. Another square, the triangular forum. In the introduction I told you about the presence of Greeks here in Pompeii, and there on the right side we can see the Stilobade, the base of the Doric temple dedicated to Hercules. In the corner on the right side we can see this Doric capital, very flat, archaic type, dated the 6th century before Christ. But already at the entrance here we can see a fountain in marble from the Roman period. The spring came directly from the columns and the base is an emanda, Claudio Marcello. Marcello was the nephew of the Emperor Caesar Augustus. And here on the left you have the area of the theatres, a provincial town of 20,000 inhabitants and already 2 theatres. On the left of this one, a little one for musical audition, representation of mime and pantomime. Concert of 11 in the morning, 1,000 spectators with a permanent roof. Then of the afternoon, a large one that you are going to see for tragedies and comedy. 5,000 spectators, and it was without a roof. But if necessary, it could be covered above with the awnings in silk and decoration. The stage is a classical stage from the Roman period. In Lateritium, in bricks, we must consider a second floor. Everything was covered with marble and statues. The stage resembled to a facade of a Renaissance palace. And this is the reconstruction to give you a better idea, with the awnings on top. Behind the stage, the very large portico area was originally part of the theatre. It was used during the intermission and before the play light district. Without asking anyone, they could find the place, because everywhere you have arrows like this, you see? Call it an arrow. It's a phallic symbol to indicate the red light district. They know exactly where to go.
Garbage.
Many arrows in Pompeii, about 20 of this.
Good, the picture.
You tell them where we're at.
We're on top of Mount Vesuvius, that big mountain, the big volcano that erupted in 79 AD and killed all the people in Pompeii. And you can still see some of the remnants of the ashes and the other rocks that came out of the volcano.
Right.
Yeah. Now we're gonna...
I'm tired.
Superstition is the dumbest thing.
That's snow. That's first snow we've seen since we came out here.
It's a sin to believe in superstition.
Volcano.
It's now here, but the activity of the old volcano, they say, probably started 100,000 years ago, and it was 3,000 meters high. The circumference of its crater was of 12 so we are in the crater of the old volcano. And in the valley, which separates the summit, you can see the lava of LHA. Lava everywhere in the crater on the side, and down in the valley, here, down there, lava. Very far.
Inside the mouth. Feel the wrath. Can I take a picture there, cool guy? Wow, that's big. It'd be crazy to feel like rumble right now. Keep running.
I'd be scared.
Hey, we're off the coast of Africa. So tomorrow we'll be back home in 2 months. But I don't know, it's just a really beautiful day out here. It's been nice all day. The water's almost like a lake. Really, really warm. It was like, I don't know, 82 or 3 today. So not as much to look at. Hey y'all, this is Rijeka, Croatia. So, pretty nice. It's warm here. It's supposed to have been snow, but I guess it warmed up the last couple of days. We're right in between all the islands. So, I hope it's gonna be nice. We're going to port today. We're anchored out right now, dropping all the Marines off. And I don't know, it looks like it's going to be a pretty big city. Most people say it's nice since being here, I don't know. Like, we hardly ever come up here. They've been at war for the last couple of years. And we get extra money here for like hostile fire pay or some crap. But, I don't know. yesterday when you see snow. It was pretty hazy in the distance, so I don't guess we're going to see it today. Looks like a lake in the middle of like land. That's what seemed like that when we got here yesterday anyway.
The Holy Spirit. I love Jesus.
I see him on the floor. I'm sorry.
Oh, cool. Like I said, I have a hole in my mouth.
Put your right leg in, put your right leg out, put your right leg in, shake it all out, you do the whole lot. You put your tongue in, it's all that, it's all that. You do the whole boogie and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. You put your whole self in, you hold self out, you put your whole self in, and shake it all out. Do the whole boogie and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. Love you guys, everybody! Bye, everybody, here! Reactions! Hi, we're over here. School night, well, hurry up!
That's close. Okay, hit it, Darby. You gotta stand with your head perfectly still. You don't move it. You got That's not what I'm scared. Okay. I'm stinking for my for my Lord. I'm scared for my Jesus. Debbie wants to do the worm. Can you do the worm? The girls don't want to do it, but the boys do. We'll do a do-si-do, oh my Jesus. You do a do-si-do, oh Lord. You do a do-si-do, oh my Jesus. Is that too much? No, it ain't, cowboy. No, it ain't, cowboy. No, it ain't, cowboy. No, it ain't, cowboy. I couldn't help it, guys.
States.
No answer when so bitter they call. And turning back and going on my journey, I realize this world was just the same.